Next section is percent funded and building up your reserve fund. So first question, what's the recommended percent funded in reserves? Is there a minimum or maximum? And can you be above 100%? Good questions. Percent funded is a measure of reserve fund strength. 100% is when the deterioration at the association, for instance, if you have a $100,000 roof that lasts for 20 years and it's halfway used up, then it's halfway used up of its $100,000 replacement expense. So the used up portion is $50,000. So that's what I mean by deterioration. So if you have $50,000 in the bank, then you are balanced. You are 100% funded. You are balanced. So 100% funded represents the balance point. If you have less than 50 grand at that point in time, you know you're a little bit behind. So you're underfunded. So percent funded measures the amount of cash you have. If for some reason you have more cash than deterioration, you're over 100% funded. So that's what that's all about. What's the recommended? What we look at is evidence. And the evidence is that special assessments, which by nature define when the association doesn't have enough money to pay their or to do their major reserve projects in a timely manner, special assessments are rare for associations above 70% funded. On the other end of the scale, special assessments are common. They're frequent for associations that are in the 0 to 30% funded range. If you knew that you could divert heart disease by doing 100 sit-ups per day, you'd do the 100 sit-ups per day. And you knew that if you could only muster out 5 sit-ups per day, and that category of person had a high risk of heart disease, you'd try to get up near the 100% or the 100 sit-ups per day range. So that's what we're talking about, trying to get to a fiscal health position. And ideally 100%, you don't want to be overfunded, you don't want to be an association that's too weak. Can the board choose what percent to fund even if it's below 100% funded? Yes, we're always going to recommend 100% funded. That is that balance point. There's some boards that want to draw it down maybe to the 70% level. Why be bullseye? We're always going to aim our clients towards the bullseye. So if they miss the mark a little bit, they're still in the good range. But it's your association, you get to choose. Do you have any tips on how to build back reserves that have fallen behind? Yes, it is a matter of raising your monthly assessments. You need to flow more cash into the reserve account. If you're far behind, we talk about this thing called the $10 solution, where you increase your assessments $10 per year this year, with that extra $10 per unit per month going to reserves. And then you increase, if your condo fees are $350 a month this year, bump them up to $360. That extra $10 going towards reserves. Next year, bump them up to $370. And gradually you can get yourself into a place where you're funding your reserves appropriately, you're building up your reserves, you have a strong reserve fund, and all of a sudden you realize we're doing our projects on time. The place looks great, and the property values are appreciating. Those are all good things. So no magic speed, how fast you have to get there. You just want to design your association for physical and financial health. Can a bank loan help get you there? Yes, a bank loan can help get you there. It's an infusion of cash, but then you're getting someone else's money just so you can feel good about the size of your own bank balance. So it's not a wise move. If you borrow funds, then you're going to have to pay the bank back in interest. So the only good reason for a bank loan is if you're in a dire strait and you can't get a special assessment passed when you need the cash now. A loan is not a good thing to do for just strengthening your reserve fund. Does the recommended percent funded change throughout the 30-year reserve plan? Yes, your percent funded is going to change, as I said a moment ago, depending on where you are with your expenses. If you're just over a large expense, then your percent funded is going to bump a little bit. So as you go through roofing and painting and asphalt and all your other major expenses, we call the percent funded graph a sawtooth. It's going to wobble and bobble a little bit. Those are technical terms, but it's going to change a little bit. But it's up to you to design towards a stable and strong point for your association.